Your parent needs more help than home care can provide. That much you know, at least. But where do they actually go? Assisted living, memory care? Do they go skilled nursing? Right, the wrong choice. It costs families thousands of dollars a month. And sometimes it even means moving your parent twice when one move would have worked just fine. So today I'm going to break down the real differences between assisted living and memory care. I want to talk about what each one provides, who each one is built for, and also the specific signs that tell you which one your parent actually needs. Once again, my goal by the end of this video is for you to know exactly which path makes sense for your family. And I want you to know what to ask on every tour to verify it. Okay? Welcome back to my channel. For those that are new here, if this is your first time, my name is Winston One. I'm currently studying for my certified in long-term care designation, my Georgia life insurance license, and I'm in the process of acquiring an assisted living community right now. Trust me, I'm deep in this world every single day. The operational side, the financial side, and most importantly, the human side as well. And if you're caring for your aging parent or you're planning ahead for your own care, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I believe we're building something special here. We're building a community of people who refuse to be blindsided by the care system. Okay? Quick thing before we jump in. I'm not your doctor, your financial advisor. I'm not your attorney, and I'm not your insurance agent yet. No. This is largely educational on how the care models work, right? But for your specific family situation, I want you to talk to a licensed professional in your state and ideally a clinical evaluation of your parent. Cool? All right, let's get into it. I think we should start with assisted living. So assisted living is for seniors who need help with what's called activities of daily living, ADLs, right? But they are still cognitively intact. So in other words, your parent might need help bathing, they might need help dressing, managing medications, getting around, but essentially they still know who they are, they still know where they are, and they still recognize. Okay. Assisted living communities, they provide a private room. They provide 3 meals a day, med management. They help with housekeeping, socialization, activities. They'll help you bathe, dress, all of that as needed. Right. Some of them even offer transportation, right, to medical appointments. Essentially, the vibe of a good assisted community is you want to maintain the independence, but also with a safety net. So this means residents will have their own space. They can make their own choices about their day, but there's always staff on hand 24/7 to help when help is needed. Okay. Now, most assisted living communities, they will have a nurse on staff. Most are not locked up in what are called secure facilities. That means residents can come and go. They can go to lunch with their families. They can attend church, run errands. They can do all of that. Now, memory care, on the other hand, memory care is for seniors with Alzheimer's diseases or any other form of dementia, right? This is when their cognitive impairment has progressed to a point where standard assisted living just can't keep them safe. Overall, the structure is still going to look the same on the surface. They're still going to have private rooms. They're still going to provide meals. They're still going to do activities, help with daily tasks, all of that. But now the difference is these memory care communities, they're typically in things called secure environments. So this essentially means that the doors are locked from the outside. This also means that the outdoor spaces are enclosed. This is because dementia often comes with wandering, and a senior with Alzheimer's, they can leave the building and get lost and not be able to find their way back, right? Or even remember where they live. And that's a serious safety issue. A wandering senior is an unsafe senior. And memory care staff, they're trained specifically in dementia care to deal with this, right? They know how to manage what are called sundowning. This is like the increased confusion and the agitation that happens late in the afternoon. They know how to redirect that rather than confronting it. They know how to handle the aggression that comes from the confusion and the fear, not just them being like confrontational in general. If you've ever witnessed sundowning in person, it breaks my heart. It's like one of the saddest things because they're going through it and there's no way to express it. It's almost like watching a toddler melt down, right? In a grown adult. And it's something that they are trained specifically to deal with. Okay. Now, typically, the caregiver to resident ratio is usually higher in memory care than assisted living. So we're talking one caregiver to 5, 6, 7, 8 residents. Activities are designed for cognitive engagement at that resident level, not just overall entertainment for the building. So think things like, music therapy, sensory rooms, right? Reminiscence activities, structured routines, things that help the cognitive decline slow by keeping them engaged. And as you can imagine, for this reason, memory care is more expensive than assisted living. So I think the median price right now for memory care is anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So that's roughly 20%, 25% more than traditional assisted living. But like that premium, it's not arbitrary, right? Because you're paying for a secured environment, you're paying for higher staffing ratios, you're paying for the specialized training, the dementia specific programming. Like this is stuff that your parent needs given their current cognitive decline. So which one does your parent actually need based on where they are? I think there are 5 signs that point to memory care over assisted living, and I want to kind of walk you through them really. So the first one, if your parent is wandering or getting lost, right? If they are getting lost in the neighborhood, walking out to the mailbox and then forgetting where they are and walking to a neighbor's house, if they're leaving the house at night, that don't pass go, straight to memory care. That is a clear sign and clear signal that memory care is needed. Once again, a wandering senior is an unsafe senior. We're definitely going to want to take that and prioritize it. Okay. Standard assisted livings, they cannot keep them safe in those environments because it's not designed for that. Okay. The second thing is an inability to follow safety instructions. So I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to ask yourself, can your parent reliably remember to do simple things like not leave the stove on, or not open the door to a stranger, or not take double doses of their medicine, right? If these basic safety instructions aren't sticking, then maybe memory care is the safer environment. Okay. The third thing to look for is significant confusion about people, times, or places. Now, if your parent thinks it's 1985, right, they don't recognize you, they think that the home health aide is, their boyfriend from the 80s and they're trying to flirt with them and all that. Like, this is not a deal breaker right away for memory care, but this is the reason that memory care exists. Let me put it like that. These are signals that you should really start looking into memory care. Okay. And then the fourth thing is aggression. I want you to look for paranoia or, significant behavioral changes. I kind of touched on it earlier. Dementia can come with these personality changes, and it's really, really, really hard to manage some of this stuff, right? If you've ever watched a senior experience sundowning, I toured a lot of facilities. I've talked to a lot of people. I've seen a lot of things in some of these facilities that I've been in and out of while we're building what we're building over here at True North. And let me tell you, sundowning and the agitation that comes with it really is disheartening. And especially because they can't help it. So you really have to be there with them. Like I always liken it to like a toddler meltdown, because it's not like they are bad people all of a sudden. Like your mom didn't go from being this loving, caring woman to like a witch in 30 days, you know what I'm saying? Like she's experiencing something that she can't control. It feels like pins and needles, disorientation. Like if you've ever done like a dementia like training, you put on these glasses, you kind of like walk through how they experience life, and it's eye opening what that may feel like. But these memory care staff, they are trained specifically to deal with this. Standard assisted living staff, they often aren't trained for this. All right. And the fifth one, it goes right in line with the fourth one, sundowning, because it truly disrupts daily life. And if your parent becomes severely agitated, confused, restless, and it's going to happen every single day, every single evening. Memory care has structured routines and trained staff specifically for this. If you're sitting with all this and you're thinking, oh, Winston, I do not know how to evaluate my parent against this. This is exactly why we built our free assessment and planning guide. It's going to walk you through the care levels and what each one provides. It's going to walk you through what to ask on tours. It's going to walk you through how to think through this decision. So comment guide, I'll DM it directly to you, or you can grab the links in the description. I want you to think about this as a roadmap, okay? Now, here's where things get interesting, because some assisted living communities, they'll actually have memory care wings. So this means that your parent can move in while they're still cognitively intact. And then as they decline, they can move into a memory care wing later as their levels of care increases. I personally think this is the best case scenario for many families because it's one move, it's one community, you keep familiar staff, and you essentially just extend the continuity of care, right? Now, when you tour a community, I want you to ask, do you have a memory care wing? What is the process to transition between assisted living and memory care, right? Is there a cost difference? Is there a waiting period? What's the assessment process? Because a lot of the times you got to get assessed, or they'll do an assessment for you, right? Some of the nurses, they'll talk, they'll trade notes. And if they're noticing that your levels of care is increasing in assistant, at that point, they might want to have a conversation with the family and say, hey, we think it's time for mom to transition to a memory care unit or to our memory care wing, et cetera, et cetera. If the community has both, then the transition should be straightforward. That's a strong vote in their favor. I would recommend leaning in that direction of any community with both. When you tour a community, whether that's assisted living or memory care, I think there are a few questions that really, really matter. And here are my top questions. Okay. You want to know what the caregiver to resident ratio is. You want to know that in day shift and night shift as well, because a lot of times people will tell you just their day shift numbers, but you want to know actual caregiver to resident ratio, not staff, because a lot of people also tell you, oh, we have a 1-to-6 staff to resident ratio, but they're including janitorial, they're including the cooks, they're including the RNs that are on call that are never in the buildings. So you specifically want to ask caregiver to resident ratio. You want to know day shift and you want to know night shift. Okay. You want to know if your parent has the same caregiver every day or if it rotates. You want to know what training they have specifically for dementia care, how they handle these behavioral changes, aggression, agitation, sundowning, et cetera, like what the medication management process looks like. And then also what happens if your parents' needs change, right? Do they have to move out or can the community adjust, right? Can they offer hospice integration and have somebody come in? Do they have a memory care wing that they can transition your parent to? And then the last one, most important one, in my opinion, you want to ask to see the most recent state inspection report. So keep in mind, these reports are public record, right? So any community that hesitates to show you theirs, this is telling you something. Okay. So let's recap. Assisted living, this is for seniors who need help with ADLs, but are still cognitively intact. Memory care, this is for seniors who have some sort of cognitive decline, cognitive impairment, and they require the secured facilities, the specialized care, the dementia trained staff. There is a cost premium for memory care. It reflects the real differences in assisted living and memory care. Okay. 5 signs to look out for. You want to look out for wandering, the inability to follow safety instructions. You want to look for significant confusion, behavioral changes, and disruptive sundowning as well. And if a single community offers both assisted living and memory care, I think it can save you a second move down the road. Lean towards that. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to do next. I want you to grab our free planning guide. It's the most comprehensive thing that we've put together on the care levels, on what to look for, the questions to ask, et cetera, et cetera. If you comment guide, I'll send it directly to you, or you can just hit the link in the description. I want you to keep in mind, please, 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 a real plan starts with real information, and that's what I'm trying to give you. All right. I'm Winston One Day. I want you to plan early, plan smart, and most importantly, take care of one another. I'll see you in the next one.